Welcome everyone. This is Mundan Nagavan. And this video we are going to see what is inline element and what is block element in HTML5. And we are going to see one of the property which is called display property to convert the inline to block or vice versa. Just to understand more, we'll go into the video further and we will go to the inline element. So as per the MDN documents, so whatever we have the inline documents or let's say inline elements, actually it will be some like anchor tag or let's say the I tag or let's say the input tag, labels and span. So these are some examples that we can use it for the inline tag. Whereas the block level will be something like H1, H2 tag or let's say header tag, or let's say we will be having a different address tag, article tag. So on div tag mainly, so all these things will be considered as a block level elements. So we will understand what is the main difference. Let's say whenever you have the div or block, so it will create the entire block around that so that you will be having the new line character whenever you add one more block to that. For example, just to see those things, we will just create the index.html. You are seeing the index.html on your right hand side and we will see the code to understand further. And we will differentiate what are the things are here block level elements, what are the things are here as a inline elements. Just consider h1. So h1 is the block level and div is the block level, and whereas the b tag for bold letters and span, it will be considered as a inline. And here you can see another p tag, it is again the block level. Inside the p tag you will be having the a tag, anchor tag, again it will be the inline element. And again one more p tag, obviously it will be the block level. So what happens actually when you have the block level elements? Just to see that, just we will create the h1 div p, which are the block level, and I am just going to create the border for that so that you can see what it is. Here you can see the borders for the block level elements so that you can understand whenever you add the block level elements, it will create the new line and it will take as much as width it can take. Even though if you have some spaces in your block element, so it will allow the next element to follow in the new line. And by default it will have some margins in up and down. So this is the category or this is the character about the block level elements. Whereas if you have the inline elements such as we have discussed some like b and span, and in our case we have discussed on the a tag, anchor tag, you can see all those things here, but still you cannot identify or let's say you cannot see as a new line. It will be come in line with the existing content. So that's the name suggests the inline content or inline element. Just to see the borders for those, you can just create the one more border for the inline element. For our case, we have the inline elements for span and b and anchor tag. So those things has been highlighted and even it has the border. Now consider these two borders. The first level block level borders, which are in black, it has the maximum space and it will create the new line. Whereas the inline elements having the width as much as minimum that it can take. So this is the main difference when you compare the block level and the inline. Then what is the property about called display? So let's say, for example, we have the display here. You know that h1 div tag and p tag are block, but we want to convert as a inline. So you will just make it as an inline value and save it. Here you can see the all the block level elements now it will be converted into the inline when you use the display as inline. The same way, let's say save it again, and here you can see whichever the inline elements such as like a span, b, and let's say anchor tag, that I'm going to convert into the block level. So display and you can convert into the block and save it. Here you can see whichever the element by default inline, now it has been converted into the block level. So that means that it takes that maximum width and it creates the one more line or next line, new line for the following content. And this is the example that you can understand for the block level. So, but this time we are converting into the block level by explicitly mentioning the property called display is equal to block. We have one more thing. So that is something like a none. So just to understand this one, so we will take this p tag. So here you have hover me, I will disappear. So just to get that, I will be using the tag name as well as the ID. So we'll go to here and let's say p, and the ID will be no show. And I'm using the pseudo class that we have discussed. So it will be like a hover. And just, so what happens is like which has the p tag and which has the ID as no show, When you mouse over, this styling will be applied. For example, now I am just applying display equal to none. So that means that whenever I mouse over on the p tag which has the id no show, it will be disappeared. So because I have mentioned the display as none, here you can see I'm just mouse overing, it will be disappear. If you just remove that mouse over, it will again appear. So mouse over. So when you make some interactive screens, then you will be using the display none or display block. Same, the display none can be used in the different places without the pseudo clauses also. For example, let's say I'm just making the inline elements which has the border in blue. Now I'm applying the display as none. Then you can see it will not there in the screen itself, and it will not have any trace. Even it was existing earlier. So this is a specialty about the display as none. So generally we have some mainly three values for the display, which is nothing but a none, which will make that content will be disappearing. And another two things are like block and inline. If it is the existing one is the block, you can convert to inline. If existing is the inline, you can convert into the block. So this way we have understood so what is block level element and what is inline element. Just to understand more, we can go to the MDN document and we can see the list of inline elements. For example, here you can find out all the list of elements like a data list, order list, unordered list. Every list elements will be considered as a block element, and inline elements you can see here. And even in the same page, you can get it the link for the block element. So here you can see. So address, div tag, or let's say DL, any list actually, you can consider then all the headers and header tag itself. So everything you will be considering as a block level elements. And we have seen what are the different properties. Generally, there are a lot of properties for, let's say, there are a lot of values for the display property, but we have seen the none, inline, and block. So this is all about the basic on the inline and block element and the display property. So thanks for watching and have a great day.